Fräulein Bleierten. Wohnen wird noch unser heute Wendelschow. Letzter Feind und unser Volk, wir brennen doch. Letzter Feind und unser Volk, wir brennen doch.
After the end of the days of the Nazis, there remained a number of Jews who had not yet died in the camps where they had been forced to labor as slaves. They wandered over Europe, each hoping to find someone of his family also alive. They were known as displaced persons, and in a camp of displaced persons, Mika Wilner found a bride named Sarah. He made his way with her to his native village in Poland.
There is the village church. This is our street. I was brought up. These were all Jewish houses. My three uncles lived on this street. There was a little school here, where I learned the alphabet and the Torah. Our synagogue was here. Is anyone from the Winder family left in Strickland?
Are there any Jews left here? Nein, nie.
Mika and his bride went away from the village. Now Sarah and Mika sought a new life in Warsaw.
How do you feel? Hey, thank you.
I was to see Dr. Foster yesterday.
What did he say?
He's from Le Monde sickness.
What's that?
You don't know? I am going to have a baby.
Good. Good, Sarah.
No, I don't want that.
What is it?
I don't know how it can be. But here, Mika. Not for us.
Yes, even here we have to try to live again. We have to make everything begin all over again. Even here.
You think we can?
Because it was easily carried and of value. He and his wife were fond of making photographs.
Ich hab gewollt leben.
Leben.
Ich hab gekonnt Ingenieur sein.
Mama, ich will essen.
Papa. Papa.
Bruderhof.
We had one like this in our house.
You are right, Sam. It can't be. Not this.
In these times, there was no Moses to guide the people of Israel out of the lands where they were as strangers. But there was the people of Palestine itself. The Jews who had already returned to the land of Israel sent emissaries into Europe to bring out the remainder of the people. Some were official emissaries, recognized by the government.
Hello. Shalom. We want to go to Palestine. Have you passports? No. Sit down. I must tell you, without papers, the way is difficult.
Yes, we know.
And you don't mind? We're going. Ask for revenge at this address. Javier, they gave me this for you. How long does it take to go to Palestine?
We don't go by airplane, you know. And maybe you will get only 2 Cyprus. Come sit down.
But in the end, we'll get to Palestine.
In the end, I think so.
Before 6 months.
Well, no. Sometimes a few months, sometimes a few years.
It's that. You see, we want our child to be born there.
In that case, I will send you with the first group.
Thank you. Shalom.
This was the beginning of their journey, for now they had learned that there was a way to Palestine, and along the way were the known and unknown emissaries of the Haganah, who had come from Israel to carry out this task. The way was called the Brehah, the escape. The first part of the journey was not difficult. Mika and his wife Sarah came to a farm which was close to the border of Czechoslovakia. This was a training farm of the Hayutz organization of Zionist pioneers. Here they remained for some weeks. They studied Hebrew, the language that is spoken in Israel.
We can go. But first, everyone must leave behind all of his papers, especially from Jewish organizations. You are simply Jews on the way to Palestine. Papers? Any more? Organized. If you should be arrested, say there are no others. Ready? On the way.
Watch here. You gone. Make sure all past 34. All right. Over the border. Don't worry, I will bring him. Czechoslovakia. Thank you, Javier.
Finished? Yes.
Záhod in Czechoslovakia on the Polish frontier, there was a reception camp for Jews who passed the border without documents. Here Sarah waited until the officials said it was time for their group to leave. The Czechoslovakians did not stop them on their way, nor send them back, but placed them on a train that they might pass through and go out of the country. Sarah departed with her group to Butzmoshe, for her husband would be out of prison in a few weeks, they said, and would surely come up after them on the route of the Brecha. The train passed through Czechoslovakia and came to Bratislava. There was another small camp, and there they spent the night, and in the morning they were on their way to the frontier. This frontier was the river Danube, between Czechoslovakia and Austria. In a village not far from Bratislava, there was a certain bridge known in the countryside as the Bridge of the Brecha, for it had been destroyed in the war, and the Haganah had found it, and been permitted to rebuild it, and thereafter to use it, for the passage of people who did not officially exist. Austria. A bus was waiting to carry them along byroads unwatched by the military. To another camp known as the Rothschild Hospital, which was a reception center for Jews who came from the east, from Poland, from Hungary, from Romania. Their group was placed in a room in the garret, for the center, as always, was filled beyond the numbers it could hold. Here they were not asked by persons was only a total, and within the total, many people changed every day. It was 3 days since they had eaten cooked food on their journey.
Last picture.
Went on their way.
I can't.
Salam, Sarah.
Then came the time of waiting in the camp in Vienna. The time grew long. Many groups came and families came. They passed through the Rothschild Hospital and continued on their way. Every week, Sarah went to the headquarters of the Brecha to ask for news of her husband. And every week, she was told he would soon be free. But the work had to be done with caution, for the way had to be kept open for others.
Hello. Is there any news for me?
Nothing yet, Sarah.
I don't know if I should wait any longer.
If you wait much longer, I don't think you will be in condition for such a trip.
What do you think I should do?
Start from the way. As soon as Nico is out of prison, we will tell him where to find you.
And there is still no letter.
No.
Shalom.
Hello.
And then Sarah considered whether her husband would wish her to go on their way alone or to remain here longer. For then the child that would be born to them might be born in a land where their people were hated, and in a common bed of displaced persons. Soon there was another group leaving on the way, and Sarah went with them. The first stopping place was not far from Vienna.
Is it time yet? No, not yet. Sarah, come on.
Levitsky, Mikhail Putbani, Jochen Rey, Wilner, Wudner, Mendelovich, Barstow, Aronson, Gerdes, Stratford.
On this night, they had to pass from Austria into Germany, for the way to Eretz Israel led again through the land that had sought to destroy them, and now they had to come into that land by stealth. But few of the people were certain what border it was that they had to cross on this night, for since the days of the war, there were 3 borders where there had been one, and in their wandering they had crossed them all, again and again. Some of the people had returned from Germany to Hungary, and from Hungary to Romania, and from Romania to Germany, and returned into Austria to set forth once more from camp to camp, from zone to zone. For now there was the Russian zone, and the French zone, and the American zone, and there was the British zone, and each was another frontier, and all frontiers were the same. They were forbidden. And to pass each one, the Brecha took them on trucks in the night, and after a time on the highway, the trucks put out their lights and rode in the darkness. Then there came a stopping place where they alighted from the trucks, and then there was always a woods, and they walked in the dark, sometimes for an hour, sometimes for 2 hours. Sometimes they walked the entire night, touching one another so as not to be lost in the darkness. Guides of the Brecha knew many ways through each forest, and at the end there were always the trucks waiting, and then the people knew that they had passed into another country or into another zone, and that they were on the way to a camp that would be the same as all the camps they had known before, only nearer to Palestine. night was cold, and there remained still another zone to pass. The leaders hoped to shorten the voyage, and so they took the people this time on an open road, for they had papers of a kind, a list of names, and a group pass that had been issued some time ago, bearing a number of official stamps and a date that was not too clearly written. In the beginning, there had been a different list of names together with this pass. But among displaced persons, who can tell as between one list of names and another?
We don't know anything about it.
Please phone the area commander.
Too late.
There are women and children. They will be all night on the road.
And as it sometimes happens when things do not go well, they waited all night on the road. In the morning, the guide received his instructions, and he passed over the names on their list. The papers passed again, for the soldiers themselves were friendly and did not scrutinize them too carefully. In the beginning there had been only armies, and the soldiers had been willing to let the people pass with only the semblance of a formal order written on any piece of paper. But the time of government had come, and Great Britain was against the movement of Jews to Palestine and pressed other governments to close their frontiers. In these months, many men of the Breha sat in prison in various countries on the way. There was still one barrier to pass, but the American recognized the trucks as DP trucks and let them go through. On the outskirts of the city of Munich was a large camp, formerly a barrack of the German SS troops. Now it had become a sorting center for the displaced persons of Europe. Persons legally recognized.
Learn this name, Horowitz. Your name is Benjamin.
Oh, please can my husband?
It's all right.
Each month, a group visa was received permitting more than 1,000 persons to pass through France on their way, it was said, to South American countries. Some nations were kindly, and agents of other nations were willing to obtain a revenue in selling passports to people who never intended to arrive in their lands. Thus, the requirement for documents was satisfied. In the
Benjamin. But my real name is Sarah Williams. You have it? Yes, that's right.
In the open, as well as in the dark, the men of the Breha were with them. I wrote my name on a train like this, on the way to Auschwitz.
Perhaps they clean off all the names. This time no one forced us to go.
They continued on their journey in a convoy of trucks. Received their instructions for the last stage of the movement out of Germany. They arrived at the frontier of France, in this country, and remained for a short time in their passage to another land. Their names were It was good to enter a land openly, holding a written paper with a stamp on it. Now they were out of the dark countries at last. The ancient Jewish quarter, and Nika saw that in this city the traditional places of his people had not been destroyed when the people had been taken away.
Shalom, Shalom! This is Nika Wilner. Shalom. Wilner? Oh, yes, got letters for you. Good. Here you are. How was it? Did you tell me where's my wife now?
Kibbutz Moshe, it passed through here 3 months ago.
Kibbutz Moshe? The shul building near Munich. I will send you with the next group.
I want to go right away.
If you go alone, you need some money and pay.
Do you know where I can sell this?
It's pity. On Vasklarska, there is a big shop. Go there. He's honest. Set your camera, and I will meet you in an hour in front of the post office.
Good, Sheldon.
Can you get him some papers?
Nika arrived in Munich. Were to be found.
Sarah Wilner, Kibbutz Moshe.
Kibbutz Moshe, Kibbutz Moshe. There must be in a camp. Maybe Landsberg. I don't know exactly. Either.
Thank you.
Who pass through in a day are not long remembered. Of searching, Nika was fortunate. Too, way to the ancient little street where the unofficial emissary of Israel was to be found.
Shalom. Who is Shlomi?
Ani, מה אתה רוצה?
I'm Mika Wilner. I'm looking for my wife.
So you are Mika Wilner. Where have you been all the time?
In jail.
Wife would be on the way to Italy to get on a boat.
Can I get there in time?
If you go over the Alps, here, go to this village.
Good, thank you. Shalom.
The village was in the Austrian Tyrol. There in the foothills, Mika approached the camp of the Brecha, where 70,000 other Jews had come in the years after the war. Some coming on foot alone, some coming by night, hidden in the baggage cars of railway trains, every day. But in this sparsely inhabited mountainside, there were none who cared to notice. In their days of waiting, every part of the Jewish community had made its mark on this hill. The Dror, the Shomer HaTair, the Orthodox and the non-religious, the socialist and the individualist, the laborer and the artisan, all had passed on this narrow path to Israel and left their insignia.
I'm afraid to go by myself, Sarah.
But you have your husband. You are not alone.
I'm so young. I wanted to have a family right away because I have none. And now I'm afraid it happens on the boat.
I don't have to go and leave Mika in Europe.
Mika said you should come. Come with us.
I'll see.
In those days, Great Britain was the power ruling over Palestine. What happened to them? They sent them there? There was only a short while for them to rest. There still remained a distance to go from the mountain to a shore of embarkation. Some said a ship was ready for them. Others believed there would be camps in Italy also, and a time of waiting. But there were no more frontiers between them and their land. There was only the sea. An Italian beach where Allied commandos had landed in the Great War. Now, a Palestinian who had served among them guided a vessel there and made contact with the shore. And from all of their various camps where they had awaited this day, the immigrants were brought to the secret shore where Jews might embark unseen for Palestine. The shore unit had prepared an emergency pier and the rebel embarkation craft. This was the 44th ship to leave Europe for Palestine since the end of the war. Each embarkation was from another beach, and each embarkation was perilous with the dangers of wind and sea and of discovery. Some 90,000 of the people of Israel had embarked in this fashion to cross the Mediterranean, as many in numbers, it was said, as had crossed the Red Sea from Egypt in another exodus. This night was favorable. The embarkation endured the entire length of the night. The last of the people came aboard at dawn. Thus, Mr. Wilner arrived. His wife was leaving from Italy, the leaders had said, but one could not know for certain whether she was on this vessel or whether she still waited in a camp for another ship that might leave in a week or in the space of many weeks. Sarah. 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 Sarah.
Mika!
Are you all right?
Yes, I feel fine. I was so afraid you wouldn't
I
come.
wanted you to go even without me.
But there is no room to sleep here.
It's all right. I can sit here.
Mika.
they said their farewells to Europe. A lone survivor, a pair in Israel, 2 orphans. The Palestinian told them to remain out of sight until the ship was in the open sea. The people went below. They knew of the fate of other ships, of the battles that had taken place when the British seized the Exodus, of the hunger strike and the Raspacia. They knew that in the end they would almost certainly be seized and taken to Cyprus. Yet 1 vessel in 10 had arrived in Palestine.
What did the doctor say? Everything will be all right if we arrive in Palestine before Saturday.
We should arrive on Friday at the latest.
I hope so.
The first part of the voyage was stormy. Many were ill. There was little air to breathe. In their time in the world, they had learned to find ways to soften any hardship. And on the 3rd day of the voyage, the sea was calm and the sickness was over. There were those who thanked the Lord of Israel for the dangers that had been passed in their journey thus far, and who prayed that the ship might arrive in Eretz Israel. Many infants were carried on this ship. Their number was 150 of the 800 souls who were aboard the vessel. Food was given out to the people by groups and by families, and there was additional food for the children. On the 9th day, a meeting was called. There was place for only half of the people on the deck of the vessel. The Palestinian said he would like to sail the ship directly into the harbor of Tel Aviv, with colors flying and music playing ashore. The people heard him, a Romanian doctor, a Hungarian widow, a child who had found her brother. But when we approach Palestine, the emissary said, you must hide during every alarm. It will be stifling below, but this must be done. Some tried to sleep in the daytime.
I have a feeling our ship will arrive.
I heard that Shlomi knows a place on the coast near Netanya.
The English will let us go through.
If we go through, it won't be because they left.
Mika, there won't be a fight.
On the 12th morning, there was an alarm. The British plane had found them off the Egyptian coast. Now a British warship would surely come. A flag of another nation was prepared, for they still hoped their ship might be taken for a cargo vessel. The British warship appeared, for in those days Great Britain, a power from far on the other side of Europe, sent planes and ships to patrol the Mediterranean Sea, and they searched for Jewish immigrants whom they called illegals.
The doctor said you should come now.
A voice came from the warship.
What ship are you?
Turkish.
I want to send a boarding party to verify your identity.
That is impossible.
I believe you are Jews. When you enter Palestine waters, I shall use the overwhelming force at my command, if necessary, to board you.
We understand. Cameroon, there is no use in passing down there any longer. They know we are Jews. They will follow us.
And so the people came out into sight. Many were sick and dazed from the long hours in the bottom of the ship. They knew the British would take them to the small island of Cyprus, where they would again be placed in a camp. And they knew of this camp from the thousands who had gone before and been placed there by the British. It was a camp in a dry and deserted part of the island, a wilderness. Yet they had come because they could not remain in Europe, and even Cyprus was on the way to Palestine. At their side. There were those who wanted to resist the seizure of their vessel as a token, but others said, our ship is filled with women and babies. This time we must not resist. They made ready their banners and their true flag. The flag was hoisted before the world. Turkish name was jettisoned. All day and all night the British warship followed. There were 3, 4, and there was the coast of Eretz Israel. Now that the vessel had entered Palestine waters, the British came close alongside and ordered the ship to halt. Their rope lay as it fell. No hand received it. The British were told there would be no resistance to them because of the numbers of women and children on board. They came onto the ship. Not a hand was raised against them. The people only looked at them. The vessel was seized. Open the door, Bevan. Your Tommies want to get out, and we are coming in. They were towed into Haifa Harbor. They saw the city of Haifa, the new city built by Jews on Mount Carmel. A company of paratroopers waited to handle the Jews. This was their sight of Eretz Israel. For some among the people, this moment was greatly difficult. Yet they tried to set in their minds the knowledge that they would soon return from their last time of waiting in the wilderness of Cyprus. They would soon return and live in their own land as a free people.
What a beautiful city.
We will live there someday.
With our children.